In this video, we're going to look at how we use splines to build this very simple road surface that you see here in front of you, to put the stanchions down the side and build the barrier as well. But we're also going to look at how we use wiring parameters to animate this car. So if I just drag the time slider along, you can see here that the car animates. The wheels are turning, albeit they're intersecting with the rest of the body of the car, but this is only a test. And the car is actually moving down the track and carrying on forward. If you look here at our slider, you can see that that's actually animating as I move backwards and forwards and scrub the timeline. And all of this is linked to the movement of the car, which is in turn linked to a spline. So all of this that you see here actually comes from one single spline. So we're going to be animating the car and also building this scene to go with it. So we're going to start from a blank scene, and I'm going to go to my top view and I'll press Alt W to maximize that, roll out the mouse wheel a couple of times just to zoom out, and I'm going to go straight to line. I'm going to set my initial type and my drag type to smooth, and I'm just going to sort of click a couple of times, and I might go off the screen here. There we go, in creating just a basic line. Now I'll sort all of this out by turning all of those points to smooth. Let's wait for my screen to update. And you can see here, if I go back to my perspective view, I've got a very simple sort of S-bendy type curve. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to grab two of these points, and using my move gizmo, I'll just pull those up a little way. And we're going to have to go back to our four views, and we're then going to have to turn everything to Bezier, because otherwise we will get the strangest looking road in the world. So I'll just sort out a few of these handles, and I'll probably have to do this in two different views just to make sure. Look, what we're not going to get is some very, very strange looking road surface. There we go, that's pretty much straight there, and these two are pretty much about as straight as it's going to get as well. Okay, so if I come back and look at this in 3D now, you can see we've got a road that it's kind of an S-bend on a bit of a hill there. So that's going to be my first spline. I'm going to leave that as line 01 up here. I'm then going to come to my tools, to edit rather, and I'm going to say clone. The shortcut for that is Control V, and I'm going to make a copy. With that line 02 selected, I'm going to go to the spline level, which is here, and I'm going to scroll down in my control panel here until I get to outline. I'm going to make sure that it's set to center. I'm going to left click on it, and I'm going to outline until I get sort of roughly the width of the road that I'm looking for, which is going to kind of be, I don't know, let's say argument's sake, just here. That's good. Then I'm going to come to my segment, and I'm going to select the segments, 3 segments in this case, that go up to make up this side of the road. I'm going to left click and drag up, so I've duplicated those segments, and then I'm going to detach them. Doesn't matter what we call them at the moment. They're just there as guides. I'm going to do the same on the other side as well. Now all of these have turned out to be the same color, which is a bit suspicious. So just to make things a little easier to see, I'm going to start to recolor some of them. Let's make them nice, easy, bright colors to see. Hopefully you can see that on the render. The compression hasn't destroyed things too much. Let's see. Assign random colors is switched on. That's quite odd. Okay, perhaps because it was all part of the same object. Now let's go back here, select these segments, and just attach them. Okay, and change the color there just to make sure. Okay, so the yellow one here is going to be my road surface. So I will very quickly add an extrude onto there and just extrude that negatively. So there's our road surface. And what I now need to do is I now need to create the posts which are going to support my barrier. So I will go to Create Geometry Box, turn on Auto Grid, and that way I can find the surface of this road. And I'll just create a box very, very quickly. There you go. It's a fairly good size post. Narrow road. I don't know, maybe it's in Alaska. And what I'm then going to do is I'm going to animate this traveling down a path. So I'm going to go to the motion panel. I'm going to go to Assign Controller, Position of that box, go to the Position list, and then say Path Constraint. Click OK. Then I've got Add Path. I'm going to add this as the path, and I'm going to say Follow. Now it may be that it pops to the end there, it doesn't really matter. But what's important is when we scrub through our timeline, you can see that we've actually got that post following the spline. Okay, and it stays kind of perpendicular to the surface as it goes around. Now here's the really neat trick. I want to make copies of that as you go all the way up the spline. So what I'll do is I'll come to Tools. Whoops, not that one. I want Tools, not Save. Snapshot. I want to take a snapshot over the entire range of 0 to 100, and I probably want to take 20 snapshots, all of which will be instances. As soon as I press OK, you can see there they are. Now I've made a mistake here because what I should have done is actually taken this path and lowered it so that the post was intersecting with the road. Then I should have selected the path and then gone to Tools, Snapshot. There we go. Now I've still got this post here, so I will delete the path that it's on and add it to this path. And I'll do exactly the same on the other side. I'll take that spline and I'll move it down so that the post is intersecting with the road. I'll then select the post, Tools, Snapshot. There we go. And if I now just select, I'll move that curve up there, and I'll then take this curve and move it up here as well. Selecting that box, right-clicking and hiding the selection. So now what we've got is we've got our posts ready for our road. Let's just zoom in on this properly. Our posts. You can see that they do look a little bit haphazard at some point, but they do actually genuinely follow the path of the road. I'll then focus in on this one post here. I'll say Create, Shape, Line. I'll make sure it's set to Auto Grid. I'm going to use Corner this time. And I'm just going to very quickly do sort of a very simple shape. Like this. Okay, I know that's not even, but you know, we'll live with it. I'll turn those vertices to all be smooth, so select them all. Right click and say smooth. Not the prettiest of work I've ever done in my life. Let's see, let's move that up there, it's a bit better. If I go to spline, again, I am going to use outline. And I'm going to loft that all the way down this shape here. So I'll select the loft itself, or the shape itself. And I'll say Create, Geometry, Compound Objects, Loft, Get Shape. There we go. Now you can choose to leave it like that if you want to, or you can move it slightly into the road, or you can move the posts out. I'm really not fussed. I'll do the same over here as well. I'll select this path, say Loft, Get Shape, I'll select that shape, and wonderfully it's given me the barrier facing inwards as well. So really that's how we build this. If I then select everything and I apply a material to it. You can see in just under 10 minutes, I've created a roadway that could be used on an F1 game, whatever you want, really. It's got a barrier, it's got a road, and I've got a path, which I am now, a path, which I can now animate a car down. And that's what we're going to do in the second part of this tutorial.